Hey everyone, I'm Jamie and I hope you're having a fierce day. Today we're completing the second half of the My Hero Academia Class 1 characters. If you haven't seen the first half, I'll link it in the description below. It includes Class 1A and Shinso. First up is Itsuka Kendo, the class rep. All of the CC will be listed in a blog post on my website. I'll also have that linked in the description below. For her base, we're using Leah by XX Omi Dog Lover XX. Kendo was really straightforward. The gorgeous hair is from DroSims on Tumblr. Since she's really quite smart and confident, I made her a genius and self-assured. A little bit of trivia, she likes black coffee and motorcycles and is often referred to as masculine, so I made her a bro. Her life aspiration is to get as strong as possible. Next up is the infamous Monoma. For his base, we're using Prince Alexander, how perfect is that, by a Norwegian simmer. I really like his character, I think a lot of people do. His hair is from Magpie-san on the Sims resource. For his life aspiration, I gave him celebrity. I wanted something with the gregarious trait, and I think he really does wish his quirk was strength-based so that he could be in the spotlight. For his traits, I gave him jealous, since he's often jealous of Class 1A's clout and stronger quirks. I also made him erratic, and I know he isn't actually crazy, but he often seems like it, and I think it's a fun trait to give a sim. Finally, I gave him the snob trait, since snob sims can critique poor quality stuff. Also, some more trivia, Monoma likes French cuisine and Franco-Belgian comics, so yeah. Next is Komori. She is the very first one on our list that required mesh editing and creation. Her eyes were really fun to make, and for her hair, I just stretched out and tweaked a base game hair and added several colors. Again, ship-friendly, age-friendly, quirkless AU-friendly. For her base, we're using Presley by Caitlin858. Her traits are goofball, since she loves mushroom puns, cheerful, and loves the outdoors. I also made her life aspiration freelance botanist, though I also think it could be celebrity since she apparently wants to be an idol hero. Next up is Kuroiro, using Silas Washington by Matt810036. The black skin is from my MHA skin pack, and the hair is also a new mesh I created. I forgot to record it though, but it's really crude anyway, not my best work. For his traits, I gave him loner, gloomy, and creative. He's very dramatic, his favorite things are taboos. Overall, he's just a very edgy boy. For his life aspiration, I gave him best-selling author like Tokayami, since they just remind me of Edgar Allan Poe. Next is Kojiro Bondo. For this, I used the base game robot head and just messed around with it until it looked like Bondo. I brought it into Photoshop and added the little details. Again, I'm using a skin from my MHA skin pack. Bondo actually reminds me a lot of Koda. He's a big boy but very sweet and shy. Apparently his hobby is putting together plastic models, which is really cute. Because of this, I gave him the good, loner, and geek traits. I made his life aspiration nerd brain. I didn't really know what direction to go, but I think he looks good. Next is Reiko Yanagi. I took another base game hair and messed with it until it looked good. For her base, we're using Kaylee Gold by Jin the Gaming Chick. For her traits, I gave her gloomy. She never really expresses any emotion. I also gave her bookworm since apparently she is verbose and her classmates need to simplify her statements. She also loves spooky stories. Finally, I gave her loner since she seems very quiet and to herself. For her life aspiration, I gave her archaeology scholar. I don't know, I started to get a bit bored with all of the strength, renaissance, and friend of the world aspirations. Next is Sin Kaibara. His hair was also very lazy, but good enough. He is recognizable. It's just a little bit messy. For his sim, we're using Mason by MaxLena X5C. I had to dig deep for this one and learn that Kaibara is level-headed and good-looking. He has a harsh way of thinking and loves cameras. So for him, I gave him the active trait, art lover, and non-committal. I picked strength for his life aspiration as well. Next is Juzo Honanuki. For his teeth, I just created a skin detail overlay, which can be found in my MHA skin pack 2. His skin color is from my MHA skin pack 1. For some reason, I thought I was making Rin, so we're starting out with Eduardo Ibarra by Maxify777. For his hair, I'm sorry, I went super lazy on this one. I just found the closest thing I could, even though it's a super high poly detailed mesh. It's by Kijiko, and it's very pretty, but it just doesn't really match the rest of the classmates, but oh well. So Juzo is described as having flexible, soft thinking. He likes giving and receiving massages. He also got into UA through recommendations. For these reasons, I gave him Genius and Creative, and I also gave him Dance Machine because for some reason it was the closest thing in my mind to massages. I don't know. For his life aspiration, I gave him Party Animal. I also don't know about this one. He was a little bit difficult, but there we go. Next up is Shiozaki. Her hair was such a pain, but we did it. Lo hicimos. The big thing was to add her little crown and the thorns in her hair. Bringing her into The Sims, we're using Wolf by Aizawasbby. For her life aspiration, I gave her Freelance Botanist because of her quirk. I also gave her the good, proper, and neat traits since she's really religious, pure, and modest. I think she turned out super cute. Next up is 1B Kirishima, or Tetsutetsu. I made his little eye things in a couple colors, including a silver one for his metal version. His hair is just really messy, not as bad as Kuroiro's, but definitely not as put together as Shiozaki's. In The Sims, we're using Dexter McKinney by Sims by Rachel. I'm using a normal skin, but there's also an option for metal. Like Juzo's teeth and Ochako's cheeks, Tetsutetsu's eyelashes are available as part of my MHA skin pack too, as well as individual skin details in case you didn't want to download the entire pack. We're using the Kirishima teeth by Botrum. For his life aspiration, I gave him Bodybuilder, and I gave him Hot-Headed since he is known to be quick to become frustrated and prefers direct solutions. Not the brightest, but definitely passionate. Like Kirishima though, I also gave him the active and bro traits because he is very manly. Also, fun fact, his favorite food is spinach. Next is Pony, the American exchange student. For her hair, I combined the bangs and the length of base game hairs, and I created her horns from some base game glasses. I actually really like how her hair turned out. I think it's a really cute Maxis Match loli hair. Anyway, for her base, we're using Edith by Purple SDC. Technically, she does have hooves and a tail. I might go back and create some CC for that. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing that, but for now, we're just doing the hair and horns. For her life aspiration, I gave her Celebrity since she's basically My Little Pony. I also gave her the cheerful traits since she's always very happy and innocent, and I gave her the geek and bookworm traits. Apparently Pony and Manga really love anime, and Pony started anime viewing events in the 1B dorm, so I see her reading a lot of manga and weeping out over anime. Next is Shoda using CR Marinello by Fabisims. We're using a Maxis Match hair by Mayuki Sims on Tumblr. Shoda is described as humble, mature, and the conscience of Class 1B. He's good friends with Ida and likes to watch boxing matches. Because of this, I gave him the good trait, the bro trait since bro sims like watching sports, and the proper trait since proper sims have trouble doing anything mischievous. For his life aspiration, I gave him Friend of the World. Next is Manga Fukudashi. Get ready for some more cursed CC, but never as bad as Crackhead Coda. Because I'm so incapable of making CC from scratch, I could really only go super basic with this one. I made his speech bubble a literal circle after trying very hard to move around a base game hat. For some reason, my mind took this opportunity to slap a Lenny face onto this bad boy, so yeah. There you go, you're welcome. Anyway, to use this, you need to have these Invisible and Invisible Teeth mods, which are both linked in the CC list. Combined, here's the final product, very bootleg. Manga is very expressive and dramatic. I think it comes with the quirk, and he has a soft spot for children. He likes drawing and making kids smile, so I made his life aspiration Super Parent. He loves talking about anime with Pony, so I gave him the geek trait. I also gave him the goofball and childish traits. I probably could have also given him Art Lover. Next is Yui Kodai, the pretty girl of Class 1B. Unknowingly, I accidentally used Wolf by Azilophobic again. It's just such a cute base sim. Her hair was really easy, and I just messed with the base game mesh until it resembled her bob cut. Kodai is honestly a little bit boring. She doesn't really express emotions. On the wiki, it says that she sometimes says when eating her favorite tomatoes, so I gave her the neat and foodie traits. In middle school, she was unaware that a group of boys formed a fan club for her, so I also gave her the unflirty trait. For her life aspiration, I just kept the Renaissance sim. Next up is Bug Goat Fisheye Kosei. He has really cursed eyes, but anyway, I messed around with a mesh by DroSims for Ichigo from Bleach, so you'll have to download that in order for Kosei's hair to work. It's basically just a short spiky poof. For this, we're using a male base game sim by Ursula Smith. Kosei is very competitive and has the got your back factor according to the wiki. He likes ball games and live-action superhero shows with tons of special effects. Because of these factors, I gave him the athletic, bro, and geek traits. For his life aspiration, I gave him soulmate after that little interaction with Sue from the class battle arc. Next is Awase. For this, I just edited the mesh I created for Sato from Class 1B and added a band around his hair to resemble his headband. The actual design on his headband is really simple, which was great for me. We're using Gustav Adel by a Norwegian simmer. Awase is described as being foul-mouthed and tense, though selfless. He is very proud and confident of his quirk, so I gave him the self-assured and hot-headed traits as well as creative, since he needs to be creative to use his quirk. For his life aspiration, I gave him Nerd Brain since it combines intelligence with the handy skill, and he's basically like Bob the Builder. Next is Togaru. Oh my god, this was another nightmare. As always, I started with the robot head from the base game. This poor robot head has been so abused. I'm sorry, robot head. But anyway, I kept stretching and moving around the vertices. This was so messy. The UV map was messy, the Photoshop file was messy, everything was just thrown together to kind of resemble this praying mantis head. Bringing it into The Sims, Togaru is hot-blooded, seeing Bakugo as his personal rival since they have similar personalities. He's also gym buddies with Tetsutetsu. For these reasons, I gave him the hot-headed, bro, and athletic traits. He also likes collecting insects, which is sort of weird. It seems like he should maybe be friends with the insects instead of keeping them as pets or specimens, but whatever. Who am I to judge? So I made his life aspiration the curator. Next is Shishida. Definitely the most fun to make. There were a lot of pieces to his body, so starting with the skin, I used my base game skin and covered it in fur. I ended up making two versions after I saw him shirtless. Originally, I thought his chest would be bare like an ape, but it's actually just covered with fur. So I made a version with fur and without fur. Both can be found in my MHA skin pack. Next were his teeth. I had to make them visible despite a closed mouth, so I pulled them out really far. It might look weird when the Sims talk, but I think it's good enough. For his beard, I used a base game beard and made it really disheveled. I made sure to match the colors with his fur and hair as well. I used the base game hair and messed it up quite a bit to make his mane. Bringing it into The Sims, for his base sim, we're using a Handsome Stranger by Glovely1. For his glasses, I'm using the Eat It glasses by Botrum. They're just perfect and I love them so much. Shishida is a lot like Beast from X-Men, very smart and refined. I think Winston from Overwatch is like this too. It seems to be a trend. But apparently Shishida comes from a well-off family and addresses people as Sir and Miss. He also uses a wide vocabulary, so I gave him the proper genius and bookworm traits. I also made his life aspiration successful lineage like Ida. Next is Ren, the Chinese exchange student. It's a bit strange, but his fifth trait in the hero book is Chineseness. His whole personality and character is just Chinese. Anyway, we're using Eli by XAlleyCatX. The skin is found in my MHA skin pack. His hair gave me a frighten because I messed up the UV map and ended up making all of his teeth and mouth pitch black. I fixed it in the end, but geez, this scared me. Anyway, for his traits, I didn't have a lot to go off of. I ended up picking proper, family-oriented, and adventurous. Since he's very Chinese and very exchange student, I don't know. For his life aspiration, I also gave him successful lineage. Finally, we have Setsuna Tokage. Like always, I edited a base game hair. Warning, in-game, it's a bit creepy. The hair curl in front of her face moves on a different joint than the rest of the hair, and it's kind of unnerving. We're using this really cute sim by Sophie362i. Again, using the beautiful Sharky Kiri teeth by Botrum. Tokage is talkative, confident, and is very good at leadership and cooperation. She is described as having total confidence in herself and never doubting or hesitating. She also likes dinosaurs. I gave her the self-assured, ambitious, and outgoing traits. For her life aspiration, I picked leader of the pack, which is just perfect because she's a leader and it gives her the gregarious trait. So there you have it, the complete Class 1B, finishing the whole set of Class 1 at UA. I'm very excited for the sequel to this. I'll be doing a Let's Play per request. Again, everything will be available on my website and Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy, and please let me know if you use this CC to make your own superheroes. I think it would be really fun to make villain versions of each of the characters, or maybe second-gen characters, but maybe next time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!